This is Dr. ANTF. Welcome to my guitar lessons. The following set of lessons is designed for the pure beginners, for someone who never tried to play the guitar. I hope you enjoy, and let's start right away. Okay, first of all, allow me to introduce the idea of right-handed guitar player and left-handed guitar player. As you can see, I'm right-handed. When you're right-handed, you use your right hand to play the strings and your left hand to press on the guitar to produce the sounds. So what's the difference between a right-handed guitar player and left-handed? Simply, the left-handed guitar has to rotate the guitar to the other position, and he has to switch the strings on the guitar. In other words, if you're buying your new guitar in your guitar shop or your music shop, you should ask the owner to switch the strings for you in such a way, the thick one, which we'll talk about it in a minute, which is the bass string, it should be on the top, and the thin one should be at the bottom. Since I'm right-handed, which usually it comes directly prepared for right-handed ones, the thick one is at the top and the thin one is at the bottom. So if you're left-handed, you'll hold the guitar in this position. If you're right-handed, you will hold the guitar in this position. Let's see how to hold the guitar the correct way. Well, in fact, I believe there's no one correct way. I will tell you all the ways, and you will select what's the best one for you, the one that you feel more comfortable. First of all, I'll start by the classical way. Classical guitar players, they use something called the footstool, and they put it under the left foot. When you put your footstool under your left foot, it will raise your foot a little bit, and then you will put the guitar on your left foot like this. In such a way, the end of the guitar should be almost this height. All right? So, this is the classical way. Personally speaking, you don't always carry with you a footstool, so it's not that practical. And you might go to France, you might go to the outdoors and so on, and you'd like to play the guitar, and you don't have a footstool. So what will you do? Personally, I'll do the following thing. I put my left foot over my right foot, and I put the guitar over it like this. In this way, I don't need any footstool or anything, and I can play easily. Well, this is between the classical and the non-classical. There's the flamenco way. Flamenco guitar players, they like to put the guitar on the right foot, something like this. Moreover, they like to put their foot, the right one, over the left one like this. So the guitar will appear in this position, and they play. Well, although this appears to be very nice and everyone do this position, but for beginners, I believe it's a little bit difficult because you cannot see the strings, you cannot see where you are playing, and since you're a beginner, you prefer to see where you put your fingers and how are things going on and so on. So in this position, it might be a little bit difficult. For those who are a little bit advanced, who practice a lot and so on, they don't need to look at the guitar. They can close their eyes and play. Well, till you reach this level, I think it's suitable for you to see the guitar. Therefore, if you put your left foot over your right one and you put the guitar in this position, remember, I will not put it perpendicular to my legs. It will be, it starts perpendicular, but then you tilt it a little bit to the back, to your chest. So it'll be like this. There's an inclination. I can see the strings, I can see everything. I can play easily. Well, this is the way that I play. Simply you select the one that you like. Either the classical one, the non-classical one, the flamenco one. It's totally up to you. I don't believe that there's something called the ultimate correct one. Anything that suits you is the right one. Allow me to show you the same positions with close-ups. Well, I'll show my position. So, I put my left leg over my right one. And here's my guitar. Put it like this. Tilt it a little bit to the back. It will touch your chest. And I put my arm over it like this. Okay, after you put the guitar in the way I just demonstrated, I put my hand like this. Your arm should hold the guitar in this position exactly from here, like this. And this way you can move your arm easily. So again, it'll come like this. It holds it from here and like this. So, as you just seen, we put the guitar like this, and my hand will hold the guitar from this position here. Why? Simply because you'd like to move your hands, and you would like to move them freely. So, in this way, the guitar is stuck between your chest and your arm from this position, and you can move your hands freely. All right, how do I put my right hand over the strings? Remember, everything I say for the right-handed people is the same for the left-handed one. You just switch your hands. Fine. A common mistake is beginners put their hand over the strings in this position. And what I mean is that here on your wrist, it's 100% parallel to the strings. And this is wrong. This is very wrong. Because there's not enough room to move your fingers. You cannot play. You should raise your wrist a little bit, like this, so you can have some room for your fingers to move. So like this you cannot play, but like this you can. I usually tell the beginners to do the following thing. Just stretch your hand in front of you and loosen your wrist from here. It will fold like this. Just keep it loose. When it is like this, simply rotate your hand over the strings and put it like this. So it will give the required inclination easily. Simply you should feel relaxed, as if you're doing nothing, no effort, nothing. If you're doing effort, you cannot play. You should be totally relaxed to be able to play and to play fast and so on. So I put my hand like this, relax, and put your hand over the strings in this position. Well, how do you use your fingers on the strings of the guitar? First of all, let's have a look a little bit about on the strings. The strings are divided into two sets. The upper set, which is the bass, the lower set, which is the treble. The bass are those that produce bass sounds, like this. The treble ones produce light sounds. So bass, the tough one, treble, the soft one. So we have 3 of bass and 3 of treble. We count the strings of the guitar from bottom to top. So this is the first one, the second one, third, fourth, fifth, sixth. Your fingers should sit in the following position. Your thumb should be on the 6th string, the bass. And the following 3, we will not use the last one, or we will use it in only some techniques, like these techniques. But since this is a little bit advanced and it's beyond the scope of this practice, we can say it's not needed for this practice now. We are going to use only these 3 fingers, and I'm going to put my 4th one on the first treble, and then they follow accordingly, and my thumb over the 6th string like this. We will see it in a zoomed angle. Well, here, let me repeat again, since we're at the zoom level. My wrist should be raised a little bit, something like this. So there's enough room for my fingers to move. This is wrong. It should be like this. And the way I put my fingers on the strings, my thumb is on the 6th string, and these fingers are as follows: 1, 2, 3. So This is the reset position, if I can call it like this. So whenever you say reset, it will be like this. Okay, let me a little bit talk about the nails. As you can see, flamenco guitar players or classical guitar players, they have the right hand, the nails of the right hand are long, while there are no nails on the left hand. If you are left-handed, they have to be switched, simply. So, why do we need nails? Because when we play on the guitar, when we hit the strings, we will hit them from our nails, like this. What happens if you don't have nails? I illustrated by my left hand. You should hear the difference in the sound. It's a dull sound. This is a bright one. So to have bright sounds, you need nails, which is obligatory. So there's no way to escape this. We measure the length of the nails not from this side, but from this side. The nails should be longer than your fingers. This is because the sound of the strings is affected by the last thing that touches it. And when your nails are longer than your fingers, then the last thing that will touch the string is your nail, which will produce a bright sound, something like this. How to hit the strings? There are two ways, the classical way and the flamenco way. The classical one will hit the strings in the air, like this. So, I'll do it as slow motion. Okay. The classical way is the soft way, when you are going to play something that's soft. The flamenco way is the tough one. It starts by doing a good amount of force on the string, and you rest on the string that's above it, like this. So you start from here and you end on the one above it. Remember, I'm not playing this one, I'm only playing this one. But since I'm doing a great amount of force, I need to rest somewhere. Therefore, I'm resting here. So it's like this. One more thing. In any case, if it's the classical one or the flamenco one, you start touching the string a little bit from your finger, as you can see here, from this sign that the string left on my finger. So you start from here and then you go up. If I'm going to use two fingers, well, and it's the same for the thumb one. So as you can see, the thumb will go down by nature. So you start also a little bit from the mark that appears from the string on my finger here. The classical one, you go to the air, or the flamenco one, which needs good amount of force and you rest on the string below it. So if I'm going to play the thumb finger, alright? So this is how you hit the strings with your fingers and how you position them. Remember, they should be perpendicular on the strings, they are never like this. You should have some room, your wrist will be raised a little bit, you should feel relaxed, your arm is totally relaxed, simply in this position. A very important note for your thumb finger. A common mistake that the beginners in guitar do is on this joint. When I want to play on the guitar, a lot of beginners play and they turn this joint. This is wrong. We should not bend that joint in this position. we should only bend our thumb from this joint, which means like this. We should not move it like this. When this joint bends, it's wrong. So if I would like to play with my thumb, I always move it like this, never like this. So always like this. So always like this and never bend this joint. Alright, let's talk about the left hand. Well, your left hand is responsible for changing the tones of the guitar. If you don't use the left hand, simply the sound will not change. Here's an example. No change. Well, if I use my left hand by pressing on the strings, there's a change. So this is what will produce the music. Here you will hit the strings to play music, but this hand is the one that will change the tones. Before I start talking about the way to position your left fingers over the strings, let's talk a little bit about the nature of the strings. As you can see, there are some metallic marks on the guitar. They are responsible to make the string shorter in length. In other words, if you play the string alone, it produces this sound. If you press somewhere in the middle, you made the string shorter. Now the string is from here to here instead of from here to here. So when it is shorter, the sound is thinner or brighter. So as long as you go from left to right, you're making the sound more bright, more thin. This is on every string. So even if you're on the first one, the treble one, so as you go from left to right, you're making the sound more thin. Moreover, if you're going from top to bottom, also you're making the sound thinner. So here's the bass. So if you go from top to bottom, you're making it more thin. From left to right, you're making it more thin. Okay, now let's see how you use your left hand to press on the strings, and we are going to see it in zoomed angle. Well, as you can see, there are some marks, the metallic marks on the guitar. Whenever you'd like to press on the string, you should press in the middle, between the two marks. Don't go near to any mark, to the right or to the left, because it will cause more force on you to press it and more pain on your fingers. And by the way, when you start playing on the guitar, you will notice that the strings will keep some marks on your fingers, and it might hurt a little bit at the beginning, but with time you'll get used to it and you will never feel pain after that. So when you want to press, you press in the middle between the two. Moreover, you should not press when your fingers are bending like this over the strings. Let's say I would like to press on this string, the fourth one, since we count them from down to top, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So if I press it like this and I rest my finger over the strings, here there's a problem. Although the desired string is pressed correctly and I can hear its sound, but if I play the other ones, you will notice there's no sound. So when you want to press a string, you should do it in a perpendicular manner where all the strings are untouched, because you'd like to play all the strings, for example like this. You can hear the voice of every string. sorry, the sound of every string. So you will never do like this, you will always do like this. And by this way, you can press many strings at a time and you can hear the sound of every one. There's a certain distribution for your fingers and your strings. We can count the marks on the guitar. So this is the position number 1. All these strings are on the same position. So this is number 1, number 1, number 1 for the respective strings. This is the position number 2, number 3, number 4, and so on. So when you're going to press the guitar, you need to distribute your fingers in the right way. So this finger is responsible for pressing any number 1 string position. So if you'd like to press on string number 6, position number 1, you'll do it like this. String number 5, position number 1. String number 4, position 1. String number 3, position 1. String number 2, position 1. String number 1, position 1. It's wrong to do it like this because this position is the position number 1 is the duty of this finger. So if you are going to play number 1 position, you are going to do it with this finger, not with this one or this one or this one. All these are wrong and this is the right one. So if you are going to play position number 2 of the strings, you are going to use this finger like this. Position 3 with this finger. Position 4 with this finger. Also, it's wrong to use other fingers for these positions. In other words, I should not use position number 2 with this finger. I should do it with this one. So first position, second, third, fourth. So what if I would like to play other than these 4 positions? The guitar is long, as you can see. So 1, 2, 3, 4. If you finish them and you'd like to play something like 5, 6, 7, 8, simply you move your arm and this finger will be responsible for the position 5, 6, 7, 8. So they fall consecutively. In other words, the counting starts from this finger. Whenever you put your finger on any position, all the rest will follow accordingly. So 5, 6, 7, 8. Sometimes, for some songs, you find yourself you would like to play only 3, 4, 5, 6. In this case, you will not put it 3, 4, 5, 6. It will be too much. You will put this finger here, 3, 4, 5, 6. So simply it depends on the nature of the tone itself. So again, 1, 2, 3, 4. Anything that I would like to play in this area should be played by the correct finger. Alright, now we learned how to hold the guitar, how to put your right hand, your right fingers on the strings, your left hand on your left fingers on the strings. It's time to start our first practice. Our first practice aims to practice your pressing on the guitar to produce clean sounds on all the positions of the guitar, which is the base for any song that you'd like to play. This practice has no real music in it, but it's just a good practice to strengthen your fingers. So the practice is as follows. We are going to start from the string number 6 on the first position, position number 1. You are going to press it all the way down and you are going to play the string in the correct finger. Since we're starting on the bass string, you are going to start with the thumb. So it will be like this. You want to press all the 4 consecutively. So it's like this. 1, 2, 3, 4. Well, before I continue, I'd like to mention a couple of points. First of all, let's talk about the pressing and the mistakes in pressing. Assume I would like to press on the second position of string number 6, the bass one. If I don't put enough force on my finger or on the pressing, there will not be sound or good sound or clean sound. Let's start by no pressing at all. The sound will be like this. right? Because I didn't press at all. Little bit more press. It's producing a whizzing sound. Let's press more. Well, this is a clean sound. The problems with beginners, they are unable to press enough to produce such clean sounds. They always, or many times, they produce sounds like these ones. So the aim of this practice is to be able to hit any note and produce a clean sound. So we start from the first position. Well, we used all our left hand fingers on the string number 6 on all the positions. So we are going to switch the second one to the string number 5. Let's repeat. Now I go to string number 5. Remember, these are bass strings, so I will hit them with my thumb of my right hand. So let's proceed. I finished the 5th string. Let's go to the 4th one. And now I finished the bass strings. I will start with the treble ones. And only for this practice, we are going to hit every treble string with the corresponding finger of the reset positioning. In other words, string number 3, I will hit it with this finger. So when I finish, I leave it in the air. String number 2 with the middle finger. I leave it in the air. String number 1 with the ring finger. Let's repeat the practice continuously. Very good. What are common mistakes that beginners do in this practice? They don't do equal speed or equal time of playing the notes. In other words, they might increase the speed in some places and decrease the speed in other places, ruining the whole music, although this is not music, it's just a practice. Let's illustrate. This is wrong, because the time interval between the notes is not equal. In this practice, you should have equal time intervals in all the notes. So, let me do it in the right way. This is correct. They are all equal. This is wrong. They are not all equal in time intervals. Moreover, the time interval should be equal when you switch from a string to another string. So, let me do a wrong one. Why this is wrong? Because when I switched from the 6th string to the 5th one, it took me a long time. So from this to this, it was too long. They should be all equal. Let me play the first 2 strings in a correct way. Simply, the time needed to switch from my 4th position on string number 6 to the 1st on string number 5 is equal to any switch. Say, for example, from the 2nd position here to the 3rd. You should not feel that there is a switch. They should be flowing smoothly. So the timing should be equal from top to bottom on all the positions like this. Well, moreover, since you're just starting, you're a beginner, it's the first time you play the guitar, don't expect to play them fast. And you don't need to do them fast. In fact, even if I would like to play a new song, I cannot play it fast. I have to practice little by little to reach the desired speed. So initially, make sure to start playing it very slow, but producing very good sounds and equal time intervals between the notes. So this is very good. In this example, I'll play slow, but it's considered very good because all the time intervals are equal. So although this is slow, but the intervals are equal, this is much better than doing this one, which is wrong. Why this is wrong? Because I'm playing the first 4 notes very fast, but then I wait too much to switch the second 4 notes. So it's okay if you play all the practice slow, but with equal time intervals between all the notes, rather than doing some fast and some slow. So here it is again, all correct and equal. Well, you should practice this for at least 1 week. In other words, don't expect to have good results before 1 week of practicing. And since you are a beginner, this is very normal to practice a lot to be able to produce real music. Well, frankly speaking, you should practice daily, and every day you should practice something between 1 hour and 2 hours. If you practice less than 1 hour, it's not enough. It will take you longer to be able to play and so on. So I advise you to practice daily and every day between 1 hour and 2 hours, and you'll be very fine. Well, so this was practice number 1. Practice number 1 was focusing on your left hand fingers, how to press and so on. Practice number 2 will focus on your right hand fingers and how to move them and so on. So in fact, the second practice will not need the left hand. You can rest it over the guitar right here, although I recommend to keep it in the right position, in the correct position, even if you're not using it, just to get used to it. So practice number 2 will focus on your fingers. We will start by sitting in the correct position, the reset position, which means your thumb on the string number 6 and these 3 fingers on the treble strings. And we are going to play continuously in the following manner. We will start by the bass, then the treble, the next treble, the next treble. So it's like this. Let's see them in a zoomed angle. So again, put your fingers in the reset position, where your thumb is on the string number 6, the bass one, and these 3 fingers on the treble. So we will hit the bass, then the treble, the one after it. So it's like this. While this is half the practice, this is only going down. I say down because you start from bass, the upper one, and you reach the lower one in the treble. So this is the down. Now you need to go up. So if I do it in a complete circle, it will be like this. Notice that when I hit or play the first string, I only hit it once. When I go up, I will not play it again. I will directly start with the second string. So in other words, so it's only being hit one time. You need to do it in a loop way, like this. So you have to do it and practice it little by little to become faster and faster. So the faster the better. Remember, you should always produce clean sounds and nice sounds. Well, some common mistakes that beginners do. When they start doing the practice and they hit the strings, they put their hand a little bit far away from the guitar. And here's the problem. You only did the down. When you want to do the up, you are way far. So it will take some time to return back to the right position and continue. So this will slow you. In fact, I'm only playing with my fingers. So I'm not moving my hand or my arm. I just move my fingers. So it's like this. So remember, don't move your hand away. Keep it over the strings, only move your fingers. Well, the practice is not done yet. We are going to change and switch between the bass strings. In other words, I start by the string number 6, and now I will do the second bass, the third one, then the one above it, the one above it. So in other words, let's play it all over. So this is a complete circle of this practice. So the practice that you've just seen is very important, and it's used in a lot of songs. Allow me to play the same practice on a piece of song. I will start playing it slowly, then I will increase the speed little by little so you can imagine where you should reach. So this practice is very nice. It's used a lot in different songs, and you have to start it from day one. It gives a lot of speed for your hand and smoothness, and it's a very important technique. So practice number 1, practice number 2, practice number 3. Well, to be honest with you, the first 2 practices will be good after around 1 week of training. But the third one that I will give you right away, it requires a lot more than 1 week or 2 or 3 weeks. It will take quite enough time to become good. But you should start it from day 1 of playing the guitar, because it requires a lot of pressing and strings and so on. So it's good to start it from day 1. The practice is about using your finger on all the strings, and we call this a bar position. Whenever you put your finger on all the strings, it's called a bar. Before doing the practice, let's see the aim, where we are going to reach from this practice. You might always see guitarists playing like this. So this is very nice, everyone likes it. What are these? These are bar chords. Whenever you hit all the strings, we call it a chord. So bar chords because you're putting your finger on all the strings, which they call the bar. So the technique starts from this finger by putting it on all the strings, pressing all over the strings, and you should be able to produce clean sounds on all the strings as follows from top to bottom. For sure, you're not going to leave your fingers flying in the air like this. You can use some help from your middle finger when you put it on your first finger like this. So the position will be as follows. Let's see it in a zoomed angle. You need to stretch your finger and put it all over the strings and press on all of them. You can use your middle finger to put it over it, press, and play the strings. Well, what are common mistakes that beginners do in this practice? First, many times they don't put their finger 100% parallel between these two metallic parts. They put it like this. This is wrong, simply because you're no more pressing on the same position. You're pressing on 3 different positions. The top of your finger is pressing here and the bottom is pressing here, and simply there will be no sound. You see? No music. It should be parallel. This is the first common mistake. The second common mistake is the joint here of your finger. They put it exactly on the edge of the guitar, so it will produce a curve here, an angle. And if you have an angle like this, so these strings are loose, and if you play them, you will have no sound. What you have to do, you have to start hitting after the joint from here. By this way, you will not have any curve on your finger, and you can press more easy, and you'll have clean sounds. One more thing, if you look at the guitar from here, you will see there are 2 points. Classical guitars and flamenco guitars have only 2 points here. And if you are left-handed and you switch your guitar to the other side, you will not find here the points. You have to put it yourself. The reason for these points is to make things more easy. In other words, the first point is on the 5th position, and the second one is on the position number 7. Many songs starts from the 5th position. So instead of just counting, you just by looking put your finger on the position number 5, as I played a moment ago, and you can start playing. So it will make it more easy. So it's just a point of easiness. So the practice starts on position number 5. You put your string, you stretch it wide enough, you put it on all the strings, you put your middle finger over it, and you play the notes, the strings one by one note at a time. Why we want them one note at a time and not hitting them all together? Because simply when you're starting to practice, you would like to hear where are the points that are weak, that needs more pressing. So if you do it all the strings all together, you will not be able to distinguish between where's the good part and where's the bad part. So just simply play them one by one like this, and when you play it good, go to the position before it, number 4. When it's good, go to the one before it, 3, position number 2, position number 1, which is the most difficult one. It's the most difficult one because it's very near to the edge of the guitar, and here the pressing needed is much more than any other position. So again, these are the first 3 practices that you need as a beginner. The first practice is this one. The second practice, this one. And the third one is this one. Well, these are the first 3 practices for lesson number 1 in guitar playing. I hope you enjoyed my lectures, and I hope to see you in future guitar lessons. Good luck.